Question.
Who is Nintendo's mascot?
It's me, Mario!
Question.
Who is Sega's mascot?
You're too slow!
Final question.
Who is the PlayStation's mascot?
That's too much, man!
The Sony PlayStation has amassed an impressive ensemble of characters through its generations, but never settled on a single mascot. They kicked off trying one out, but it wasn't long before Crash Bandicoot was rivaled by a fellow animal platformer. Directly across the hall from Crash developer Naughty Dog was Insomniac Games. The only title under their belt was a shooter called Disruptor that sold poorly but reviewed well enough to convince Universal to sign them up for a 3-game contract. Almost immediately, they forged an idea for a game about a dragon. Initially taking a dark and gritty approach, it was quickly made lighter and whimsical to compete with more kid-friendly games and consoles. What they ended up with was a post-Mario 64 collectathon for the PlayStation that was as cute as it was cool. Now at this juncture, Naughty Dog and Insomniac are all like,
I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
There's a reason Spyro and Crash are often subconsciously thought of as a pair. The histories of these two series and their devs are very similar and very intertwined. They shared the same producer, the same artist, the same parent companies, the same office building. They shared technology, traded demos, and playtested each other's games. There was even a pair of crossovers made by a different studio in 2004. And like how Crash was initially called Willy the Wombat but changed due to an already existing character, Spyro was first called Pete the Dragon, but was changed due to Disney's Pete Dragon. And thank God, because those are some of the most plain, lame, vanilla names I have ever heard. It's like if Mario's name was Frank.
Hey!
Spyro the Dragon came out in 1998 and steadily sold over 5 million copies. The success led Insomniac Games to create 2 amazing sequels before leaving the franchise in the hands of Activision. Now, I don't know why any studio would sell their IPs, especially crazy popular ones, rather than just stockpile them like Nintendo, but it ended up signing the series' death warrant. Much like Crash, who was also acquired by Activision, Spyro glided from one third-party studio to another, never finding a quality footing and eventually losing his essence. And strangely enough, his revival was simultaneously the final nail in the coffin, with his casting in the Skylanders Toys to Life
Thingamajigger.
Years and years later, the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy was revealed, and we were so hyped for 12 whole seconds before the first thing we asked was, so are we getting Spyro too?
That's me, all right.
Hey wait, no Switch port? Like the Insane Trilogy before it, the Reignited trilogy is absolutely gorgeous. The jagged worlds full of polygons and porygons were completely smoothed over with fully realized assets, sleeker animations, and greater draw distances. Smaller details like water and fire effects look great, like the way the flame attack chars the grass with embers, and Spyro has so many lively idle animations, like the way his eyes flicker around, the cat-like motions of his tail, everything down to his breathing. And he looks great. All the character and enemy models are just perfect. When you compare them side by side, the difference is obviously striking. It's like playing a Pixar movie. The games run and look great on Switch and even better on the other platforms. The only lag I experienced was in the gem counter and the load screens, which was fitting because the load times are atrocious. It's so bad that I can't even edit it out of the video. And like Crash's use of vertex animation, Spyro experimented with other innovative programming methods that I don't understand. The music for the first 4 Spyro games was famously composed by Stuart Copeland, the drummer for the rock band The Police. This is awesome for several reasons. I mean, just the fact that they got an actual rock star to score a video game is just plain f***ing cool. But also, I love The Police. Now, that sentence has caused me to resist getting into them for a long time, but after a while I couldn't fight their hypnotic blend of rock and reggae. That band f***ing rocks. The first 3 albums rule, the 4th is okay, and after that, much like the Spyro series itself. Stuart Copeland, or as I will refer to him for the remainder of this video, is not only one of the greatest drummers in popular music, but did one fuck of a job scoring Spyro. He played the game in order to write music that fit each level.
That's what I call craftsmanship.
The Spyro STs are as classic as the games they accompany, full of Eastern influences, melodic motifs, and a song for each world. Unfortunately, the Reignited trilogy is no improvement. See, the Crash remake took the same songs and gave them a live recording with the same arrangements. I would have preferred the Spyro remakes got the same treatment, but instead they were totally reimagined in electronic. It makes sense since only returned to write a new theme song while some other schmuck did the rest, but thankfully among the many gestures of fan service was an option to switch between the old and new soundtracks. Stu wasn't the only big name they attached to this project. A NASA engineer was consulted to fine-tune the flying physics, and there was a small cast of celebrity voice actors, with SpongeBob voice Tom Kenny starring as the titular dragon himself.
There once was a dragon.
Is there anything cooler than dragons?
Of course not!
Seriously, they're like dinosaurs with wings that breathe fire and eat treasure.
They actually eat gold and treasure. That's why they're always sitting on a big pile of it.
The only thing that could make them cooler is a skateboard.
Hold your horns.
Spyro, the dragon, can glide through the air, breathe fire, charge like a runaway train, and roll around. The controls have also been enhanced with modern luxuries like a camera controlling right stick. The story of Spyro is simple yet fun. The dragons of the Dragon Realms are conducting interviews for a documentary about, you guessed it,
Dragon!
Nasty Nork is watching the broadcast from his shack in the 6th homeworld, to which he was exiled for being a dick. When questioned about Nasty's plan to turn their hoard of gems into his own army,
He is ugly. Ugly?
Nasty's rage drove him to carry out his attack prematurely, crystallizing the dragons, but one survived.
Looks like I've got some things to do.
It's been peaceful here in the 5 worlds. Or is it 6?
It's 6.
For a dragon's age, we now have 12,000 treasure. Or is it 14,000?
It's 14. Who put this guy in charge? One of Spyro's unique aspects is multiple hub worlds. Known as home worlds, each one contains portals to 4 worlds, a flying level, and a boss. Except for the last one, which just has 2 levels and the final boss. Each world, including the hub, has a few hundred gems, a few dragons, and sometimes a dragon egg. Spyro must collect all the gems, release all the dragons, and retrieve the egg to complete the level. Who's the best treasure hunter in gaming?
This guy's bonkers!
Gems are a lot like rupees in Zelda. They come in various colors that signify their value, and they're found sprawled about the level, hidden in treasure chests, and dropped by defeated enemies. In Spyro, they're one of the main collectibles, like the music notes or bananas in BK and DK.
That's why they're always sitting on a big pile of it.
Bad answer.
Bad answer.
Bad answer.
Frozen dragons are released with a simple touch. They thank you with a very obvious hint and fuck right off.
What? Huh? Oh. Thank you for releasing me, Spyro.
Dragon eggs are claimed by chasing down the thieves who stole them. The fuckers are fast though.
Hey!
The theme of each hub world leaks into its levels and is based on the life role of the dragons living in it. There's artists, military, magic, primal, dreams, and the junkyard. You know, I have a love-hate relationship with the flying levels. On one hand, flying instead of gliding is super fun. On the other hand, these timers are fuck. Sprinkled around the worlds are a variety of kooky enemies. Big uns that can be flamed, while small ones can be charged and flamed unless they have metallic armor. They have slight differences, but the combat is stupidly simple right down to the final boss.
Fairies are always on your side, Spyro.
Fairies can give Spyro a lift, save him from falling, grant him a temporary rise in temperature, and act as checkpoints.
Do you know what the dragonfly following you is doing?
This is Sparks the Dragonfly, Spyro's friend and life meter. He can take 3 hits before Spyro is left on his own to die from the 4th. He can be regenerated by feeding on innocent butterflies found by killing innocent animals. He can also gather nearby gems and with a click of the left analog stick point you in the direction of more, making him one of the most infinitely useful partner characters.
Hey, listen!
No thanks.
So when Spyro defeats Nasty, he returns to finish the interview. But when all Ibbles are collected,
Come back when you have reached 100%.
Spyro games rewarded completionism the best way. More content. At 100%, a secret world called Nasty's Loot gives Spyro 2,000 more gems to collect with the gift of flight. He's got motivational posters. Even the villain in this game is lovable. However, even an endgame as great as this was not enough to quench the burning desire for another taste of Spyro. Hence, Spyro 2. Ripto's Rage. Having saved the Dragon Kingdom from Nasty Nork, Spyro rewards himself with a vacation to Dragon Shores, but his portal is rerouted to the land of Avalar by
Professorson?
That cheetah from the commercials.
They request his help in defeating Ripto, a weird little demon warlock dude conquering the land. His weakness? Dragons.
I hate dragons.
Racist!
Ripto's Rage might be one of the finest examples of video game sequels ever, injecting variety into a foundation that was already fun to play. The story was embellished with more characters and tons of cutscenes. The worlds were larger and featured actual missions and NPCs and literally gated power-ups. Spyro can now swim, climb, ground pound, and augment his glide with a little flutter. I always found it weird that this level's NPCs are humans and it like never addresses it.
Hello, Spyro.
What just happened was kind of sad.
The land of Avalar not only has the most medieval sounding name ever, but also 3 homeworlds themed after the seasons. Each one contains numerous worlds, a flying level, and a much more satisfying boss fight with the villain and his 2 grunts. The first one is basic. The triple phase showdown with Ripto is actually quite bitchin', but the middle one needs to go fuck itself. Instead of dragons and eggs, each world contains talismans and orbs. Talismans are given for completing a world's main quest, usually just making it to the other end while helping the locals reclaim their turf from Ripto's minions. They open the door to the boss's dungeon.
I'm just going to retrieve a talisman.
Orbs are rewarded for completing a colorful variety of what are basically a world's side quests. Kill the baddies, collect the thingies, or just a game of hockey. They open levels in the 3rd home world, which is a weird design, but I guess it forces you to play those minigames. Gems return with the added functionality of currency. They can now be spent to open portals and purchase abilities.
My name is Monty P. Moneybags.
Biggest piece of shit on the planet!
Evil Tom Nook over here is just up there with like Tenpenny and Pol Pot. In the end, Spyro saves the day, gets the goat, is duly reimbursed, the portal is fixed, and he finally gets his well-deserved vacation to yet another playable level. Dragon Shores is actually a theme park. There's new minigames like a roller coaster, although why they didn't complete the season's theme by putting Dragon Shores in Spring Beach, we will never know. At 100% completion, you get the permanent Super Flame power-up. There's no real use for it at that point, and there's not even a final cutscene.
Lame.
But that's cool, because there was yet a whole nother game. In the year 2000, Chinese Zodiac Year of the Dragon, Insomniac completed their trilogy with Spyro, Year of the Dragon. With Nasty Nork and Ripto defeated, things have been going pretty good for the Dragon Realms. World peace, strong economy, lots of sheep to immolate, yet suddenly, a mysterious hooded sorceress in training emerges from underground and steals all the dragon eggs. Spyro gives chase and discovers a whole new world called the Forgotten Realms. It turns out dragons lived and ruled the Forgotten Realms 1,000 years ago, but were banished by the sorceress. And as they made their new home in the Dragon Realms and forgot about this place, their absence caused all the magic of these worlds to vanish. And so, Spyro sets out to defeat the sorceress, get that money, reclaim their ancestral homeland, and most importantly, Year of the Dragon has long been my favorite entry. It has the best levels, the best mini-games, the best characters, the best music, the best everything. It has everything the first two had, but refines them. It didn't introduce as much as Ripto's Rage, but it doubled down on it. The only disappointment is that Bianca isn't one of the playable characters, especially since she got this adorable redesign.
What?
You want a piece of me, Rhinoc boy? 8 laser punk? Come on now. No fair hiding.
Hey, jabroni, show some class.
Stupid monkey.
Similar to Banjo-Tooie, Spyro retains the abilities he learned in the previous adventure. However, instead of more new moves, this entry's big feature is other playable characters.
He's not going to get out cheap.
Corporations and subcontractors have privatized the prison system into a profit machine built on human incarceration. As a result, over 2 million people are locked away, half of them for non-violent drug offenses. Living conditions are squalid, corrections and rehabilitation efforts are inadequate, and then there's the rape. Let's put an end to these human storage facilities. Let's end the prison business.
I hope you appreciate this favor I'm doing in letting you out.
You really are the biggest piece of shit on the planet!
Year of the Dragon features 4 homeworlds, this time themed after the times of day. Each one contains various worlds, a flying level, and a boss fight. Tara Croft,
Showing up here to raid the tomb.
in a Tomb Raider themed level.
Yes, it is.
They whittled it down to just 2 collectibles this time. Gems are once again used to bribe this greedy cunt. And eggs are the main goal.
Egg!
No, not Bianca. No. With her clumsy abilities and confused motivations and general adorableness, Bianca is heavily implied to be a misled villain. When the sorceress reveals her evil plan of using the dragon's wings for a spell to become immortal, Bianca defects from the dark side to free Hunter and helps Spyro defeat the crazy old bag. Post-game, he meets up with some new friends and some old ones while searching for Hunter, who has eloped with Bianca.
Let's watch the show.
At 100% completion, Super Bonus Round is opened, containing 5,000 gems and the final 150th egg. And the Spyro trilogy closes with the births of the hatchlings.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Dragon!
Just as Naughty Dog abandoned Crash Bandicoot to create Jak and Daxter, Insomniac left Spyro to work on their next series, Ratchet and Clank. And like Crash and Spyro, they work together on those games too. Since then, Naughty Dog has gone to create Uncharted and The Last of Us, while Insomniac reinvented Spider-Man. And ever since they started, they maintained their companionship, still working across the hall from each other as first-party studios for the Sony PlayStation. The relationship between these two companies is something economists should study into as a precedent for coexistence in the marketplace. For all their similarities, Crash and Spyro differed in one big way. Whereas Crash Bandicoot is infamously hard, Spyro the Dragon is surprisingly easy, except for Gulp and the flying levels. Exploration, collecting, puzzles, and combat are all simple, streamlined, and most importantly, fun. And that's okay. Games don't have to be hard to be fun. Spyro is just a good, breezy, chill-ass time. Something Nintendo-less 90s kids could just relax and enjoy when they were done raging over Crash. If the controller still worked.
Dragon!